Welcome back. In our next segment, Aikido, the art of peace, we'll take a look at a unique, lesser-known Japanese martial art style that is anchored in the principles of peace and harmony. DC Aikido Martial Arts Executive Director and Aikido instructor Ryan Bausch explains what Aikido is and how it teaches us to address conflict in a non-violent and empowering way. Let's take a look.
Aikido is a Japanese martial art. It incorporates utilizing the energy of your opponent. It's not a striking art. It's a grappling art where you use pins, joint locks, and throws to neutralize or redirect the energy of your opponent. So it doesn't require any strength because you're using the strength, power, and speed of your opponent. The word Aikido in Japanese, as you can see it here on my shirt, Aikido, the three characters break down as follows. I refers to harmony. Ki refers to energy or the spirit. And Do refers to the path or the way. So if you translated it into English, you could say Aikido means the path of harmony or the way of peace. The goal of Aikido as it relates to dealing with conflict resolution or aggression is to find an alternative way of dealing with it. As human beings, we're programmed to respond in a natural way to conflict and to use aggression when we're angry or scared. Aikido forces us to find a more conducive way or a more peaceful way and oftentimes an easier way of dealing with it as it applies to the physical sense. But that requires a lot of study and mental training, and as well as physical training. You know, as human beings, we respond in a certain way. When we're scared, we freeze up, we back away, and we want to use strength, or we want to use the same force that we're being met with. Aikido is a training of the whole mind, body, and spirit. It's a philosophy as well as a martial art. So when you're learning it in the physical sense, you are, in essence, learning how to control an opponent not by force or coercion, but by blending with their movement, by accepting what they're giving you, rather than meeting it with force. Philosophically, you're also learning how to deal with conflict, and it could be anything, with family members, in your workplace, people you don't know, you run into on the street. It teaches you how to resolve those issues without giving that conflict. Because when there's all that conflict, there's really no room for any resolution. Aikido trains you to build that room, trains you how to use your circumstances to find a better or easier way to reach an actual resolution. I was originally attracted to Aikido mostly because of the challenges it presents as a martial arts system. You want to use strength when you're grabbed. You want to fight, because you want to get away. With Aikido, you have to learn how to relax and be calm and be loose. So it's a lot of psychological training as well. You have to be comfortable with having punches come close to your face, or really strong people grab you and not immediately freaking out about it. Aikido is also known as the art of peace. And even in the word Aikido, the way of harmony or the way of the spirit, we find that it's a unique approach to conflict resolution. Is it all? It's not going to work. You guys need to make sure you're coming in nice and low, pivoting, and throwing as you stepped. So use that lever to your advantage. You should make it extremely easy. But Aikido's philosophy is not worrying about the opponent in the sense that they're better than you. It's focusing on the self and improving yourself, and through that, spreading that peace and that harmony.
What an insightful piece. Joining us in the studio to talk more about Aikido is student producer Itana Finkler. Welcome to Student Exposure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I feel really calm after watching that segment. I can't help but feel Ryan's aura through that piece. So tell us a little bit about Aikido and how it kind of impacts the unique DC community.
Well, I think that that Aikido appeals to kids and women and older people and disabled people because it's not about strength and power. It's a philosophy based on harmony and peace. And so I saw, when I was learning about Aikido, I saw children who were really gaining confidence, and I saw an elder instructor, female instructor, who was flipping a larger male.
Wow.
And so it's really something that you can learn confidence in your life for changing the energy, changing aggressive energy.
That's awesome. It seems like it's also a way to kind of center yourself and, you know, reduce your stress and anxiety. So from a personal perspective, how has learning about this process kind of affected you personally in terms of like your actions or how you see things? You want to tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because while I was taking this course actually and had seen Ryan at the studio at DC Aikido, I had an incident where I kind of was starting to have an argument with someone.
Okay.
And he was being what I could, kind of macho it seemed, and I react immediately, and I see myself getting aggressive right back.
Right.
And I calmed myself down, and I started listening, and I started just being with what was happening more. And I felt like I could see that right then in my mind that Aikido was helping me in my personal life to just transform a situation and be less aggressive. And I can see how that can work at the workplace or in relationship as well.
That's awesome. I think I'm going to have to adopt some of what I've seen and learned from you while I'm driving in this thick DC traffic some days. So
yeah, it's practice.
It's practice. So practice makes perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today. It was great to learn more about Aikido in DC.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. When confronted with negative energy and aggression, Aikido teaches us all to roll with the punches and maintain our spiritual centeredness. In a world where violence, bullying, and conflict are all too prevalent, Aikido is a refreshing and incredibly valuable system that can be used by people of all ages, sizes, and levels of physical strength to protect and defend themselves. Stay tuned. More student exposure, the art of war after this short break.